piece of machinery goes down and maybe it's a simple bearing swap out. Say you're shorthanded and you now have somebody you're paying $150, $200 an hour to do specialized welding work, do that replacement. We spend a whole lot of time and effort doing it that way.
Welcome back to another episode of Perma Power Talk. I'm your host, Fred Rittenauer, and today I'm greeted with Travis Stubblefield, a key account manager here at Perma. Travis, welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you. We have a very interesting topic. Some would say that it is the hottest off the press, and one of the things that is garnering a lot of attention, not only from myself as an RSM out in the field, but just industry-wide, and that is what is known as our LoRa technology.
Mm-hmm. Yep, LoRa, long range. We're entering the age with everybody else and everything else in the world of connectedness and wireless and having a whole lot more capability at a distance now, right? So obviously a lot coming with that, and like you said, hot off the press. It's a lot of times where the conversation starts in this industry and what a lot of people are looking for out of the gate these days.
Yeah, I would say it's here and it's here to stay for the long haul, and it'll be cool to have this conversation just to not only see what's going on right now, but also where we think this is going to evolve to. But first, let's take a step back. You were a part of the LoRa technology before we rolled it out into the field, and so can you kind of give us a background of what that journey has been like and what it's led to as of today and what it looks like?
Sure. Yeah, and it's obviously been a long time coming. So it's a process that we as Perma have been working on for a long time because we see where things are going. Obviously, in the industry, we want to make sure that our customers have the best capabilities that we can put out there, right? So it's been a long time of us trying to go from, right, in the 60s, it was a metal can with some acid pushing pressure, right? And that's basically what a single point lubricator was, all the way to now. We've had to totally learn, again, one, how to develop a product, but two, how do we actually position that in the world? What are the types of questions we're going to run into that are different than what we may have done in the past? And the same thing being, right, when we get in front of the customer now, there may be a totally different person that we're speaking to. So for us, it was taking a total step back and saying, what are the things that single point lubrication and Perma do really, really well, and how do we build on that? So a bit of a process, a bit of a learning curve, but pretty much as soon as it's gotten out in the world, it's been sort of an automatic, I get it, right, in a lot of cases. And not every single organization necessarily needs to go the connected route, but you're going to have, at least in our experience to this point, a pretty clear delineation of those are going to say, yes, absolutely, that makes sense to me, because they're talking about it in other parts of their business and in their program. And then you're going to have the other side that says, well, look, hey, maybe it doesn't make sense for us yet. We're also seeing a bit of a trend over time, right? It's a different person now entering that role, connected world, right? Going away from true, what we'll call automation or repeated machine to sort of the smart communication side of things is taken over more and more in other aspects of their business as well, right? Sensors go along with this, the data they're using, AI, that kind of thing too. So for us, it was taking a look back and saying, here's where everything is, big picture, where and how do we fit in here, and what can we use out of that to kind of build for our customers.
Yeah. Speaking of customers, can you let us know some of the industries that are really grabbing onto this and being what I like to call the early adopters of the technology, who has kind of come on from, year one when we first started producing this or getting it out into the industry to now who is, catching wind of it and where that traction is happening out there?
Yet it's really all over, right? I think when I first heard long range, the exciting thing was, wow, you can talk to 1.2 miles away, you can have this communication, right? It's great. What we immediately thought, or at least I did in my mind, was, okay, huge footprints, big spread out plants make it a quarry or a mine, something that's really, really far spread out. And there's a lot of time involved just getting to all your lube points, much less doing anything with them, right? And that was where initially I think a lot of us pushed that was an obvious fit. What we're seeing now is that everywhere we go, really in any industry, there's a need for the communication aspect of this. And so while, yes, there is a long distance that it can make contact with on the long range side, there's also Bluetooth, which is a much more sort of established technology in industry, right? It's been around longer. It's any industry really of any footprint, any application really can take advantage of this. What it's doing is taking what's really great about automatic lubrication, and it's really building onto that. It's multiplying your team's time. It's giving the ability to monitor from afar and make changes from afar if needed. But really, what it's doing is empowering the people on your team. Even more, taking it an extra distance than standard automatic lubrication would be.
Yeah, you brought up aggregate when you were giving that example of the LoRa, the capabilities and stuff like that. How is aggregate really grabbing onto this? And is there a specific application in that aggregate facility or even project that comes to your mind that you might have been involved in?
Yeah, and it's really kind of all over, right? When you talk about the connected solution piece, it comes down to it's no different than the single point lubricator you have now, with the exception of, right, being able to see what's going on all the time from a central location. So when you talk about, say, a quarry, for example, some of these have miles of conveyors pulling material around a facility, right? And all of those have bearings up and down them. They have motors pulling and pushing those belts or chains, depending on what their design is. But you think about the amount of time it would take a tech on site to not only travel that distance back and forth, but actually go up to that point. And if they're pushing a grease gun, it's giving each one of these a shot, right? Hoping you're not pushing contamination in there, making sure everything's good on a visual, auditory, whatever basis they're using to evaluate it. Even with single point lubricators that aren't connected, right? With anybody's, it's not a perfect set it and forget it. As far as putting it out there and never thinking about it again and going to swap it out in 6 months when you need to, right? You still need to make sure it's actually pushing grease. There's not something clogged in the line. Somebody didn't drag it off with a piece of equipment on accident, whatever that is. And so with the connected solutions piece, particularly in a place like quarries or mines where you're not getting to those points all the time, you're not walking by them all day, every day, and there is a lot of time cost to go and inspect all that, for them, a huge value for them is being able to monitor all that from one place. Maybe it's the reliability supervisor's office, right? And so they come in and see, hey, I've got 4 problems I got to go out and look at. They can target that time and effort to the things that are really critical for them. So maybe it's a blockage that the unit picked up, then go right to that issue and address it, as opposed to all of the extra time of purely doing the inspections and investigations to hope then you catch the error on your own as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest benefits, especially when I speak to people, is that we're not saying put these lubricators out there and don't worry about them until that red dot comes up that you have to exchange the lube cup or the cartridge on it, but rather how can we enhance their team to be more efficient? Because every single year, just like us in sales, it's like, here's your territory expectations. Our boss isn't going to come to us and be like, hey, I expect you to do less. You want to grow with the industry, with the trends, and you want to keep pushing forward. And so what I notice as well is all of these quarries, their expectations are rising from their leadership and their organization to keep doing more, producing more, but with the same amount of workforce, or maybe in some cases a little bit less. And so when I'm out there having those conversations we'll keep it on the quarry topic right now, it really is fascinating to see some people where it takes a little bit longer for that light to go off of, where is the value? Why is it why are you even showing me this? To then when you start positioning it where it's like, no, this is an insurance piece on your equipment, because we want to make sure you guys stay up and running so that way you can produce that extra tonnage this year. We want to make sure your employees are more efficient on their routes with our remote mounting kits or the things that we have. We want to make sure that safety is top of mind because we know how big it is in those industries. And so what it does is it really encompasses and embodies what their plan is doing, but it allows them to get pulled on another project and not have to worry about, oh man, did I get that or did I not? They have the assurance factor from the dashboard that we offer.
Exactly, right. And a lot of these facilities are remote locations, right? And so you may have a challenge of not having a huge population to support your site. And so a lot of times there may be high turnover. You have people who don't necessarily have the lube guy's been there 20 years, knows every piece of machine by heart, right? But like you said, it's like multiplying your force. So you have obviously people on the facility that you want to make sure are doing what you need them to be doing, right? In some cases, if they're a little bit shorthanded and a piece of machinery goes down and maybe it's a simple bearing swap out, but let's say you're shorthanded and you now have somebody you're paying $150, $200 an hour, maybe to do specialized welding work, getting pulled over to do that replacement for them, right? And so, as you mentioned, right, the dashboard, it's having that stoplight. So when their team comes in the morning, they can go and look, okay, this is the top two things. I got two red lights up here I got to go look at. They can go right there, spend their time very effectively addressing the things that really need to be fixed. And then, right, that opens them more time up, multiplies their effectiveness, so they can go out and kind of do what they're ultimately wanting to do with that job, right? So I liken it maybe to a commute to work. If you're spending, say, 2 hours a day getting to and from work, that's 40-hour weeks, something like that. Call it 3 months of a year extra that you're basically going to work just for your commute to get to the job you're trying to do, right? So it's a lot like that for a maintenance team in any operation where a maintenance team's required. All of that work is required so that the thing they're doing that makes them money is able to operate. So I guess as you're kind of getting on site with some of these facilities, particularly maybe in aggregate, we can go back to that because I know you do a lot of work with that industry. What are some of the things that for them really kind of stand out to say, hey, look, this connected piece above and beyond even just standard lubrication, automatic lubrication, is something that really is going to make a difference for us when they look at investing in their operation. They can actually have a pretty good idea of when that equipment will go down, or at least have an early warning sign so that unplanned downtime becomes planned downtime, right? And then on the lubrication side, it's the same thing, right? It's understand what's going on and then doing something with it.